side to side, without you by my side, my side, my side, without you by my side. One time from side to side. Peekaboo, I see you, peekaboo, I see you, looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side, without you by my side. One time from side to side, without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. One time from side to side.
Moving with the motion. All right, everybody, welcome back. We got week number 6 here of the Immortal League. Anti is joining us once again. They are finally back and recovered from having illnesses. Good to be back on to the broadcast. But we got a cross group matchup again, second one of the split.
I love me some cross group matches. I mean, it really shows us just how strong these teams are, not just relative to each other, but, relative to completely different, strategies or metas that could be developing in other, little divisions here and there, right? Because, like, depending on what teams you're playing against, chances are you might find different things that are strong and be like, hey, this is what works for us. This is what we're going to do. But once you start throwing yourself into the fish tank with all the other sharks in the area is when you start to really see how to test your mettle.
Yeah, and we have heard word from production that the Aurora champion has been enabled this week for
Ooh, baby.
the side of Immortal League. I don't think we'll be seeing it at least here tonight. It could be permabanned. The champ is a little broken in the right hands. I was watching Polbelter build up that Rylai's Leandry's build the other day, and by God, is that absolutely disgusting. The nerfs are definitely warranted that are coming soon.
I love me some Pobelter. But Pobelter aside, we are going to be getting into the thick of things with these two teams, Lane Zero Maelstrom and the Akuma Sais. Now, we've seen the Akuma Sais here before. As you can see, lots and lots of Lee Sin players, but do not let that fool you. This team does not need Lee Sin to function because, dear Lord, do they all work well together as a team. There's a reason why they're first seed in their group.
Yep, and they're going to be going straight on up against the Lane Zero Maelstrom, seed number 5 in their group. They got the lovely Irelia player. Shout out to our girl Anti here. Loves her some Irelia players.
Irelia's fun. It's so difficult to make work in competitive. So, like, when you see someone who's playing Irelia at a high level, it's like, that's great. If there's an angle for it, I'd love to see it, but man, is it hard to make work. But now that we're here with the draft, we're gonna have to see just how things do develop, right? Are we going to see some strange little force for that? I doubt it. Irelia is not really hella meta right now, but either way, all the Irelia stuff aside, we've already got Ezreal off the table, which I like a lot, right? I mean, Tristana started to fall a little bit out of favor with the change to make her Q cost mana. It's not insignificant. Like, that genuinely does turn into a decent bit of worry there. But now, with a few of the stronger AD carries off the table, you've got the Ezreal, you've got the Ashe, and Hwei also being taken off now. We're going to be seeing some relatively, how do you say it? Relatively standard, takeaways here. Despite standard, I was about to say pretty much all standard, the Renekton being taken off the table, definitely something more of a target ban.
Alrighty, and we have Teemo banned away. That's going to be in replace of Aurora. Yes, we were talking about this a little bit before broadcast, just so we wanted to make 100% sure. We do not have a graphic for Aurora yet. We came in a little unprepared. We were unaware that it was enabled for the time being, but Viego's going to be a great first pick lockdown coming in for the NA Stallion, and Rek'Sai responding into the jungle. This could be a very interesting early game AP, or not AP, AD. I don't know why I said AP. It just rolled off the tongue.
I mean, like, that Prey Seeker goes crazy,
I've seen AP Rek'Sai before,
Yeah, but I do gotta say, I honestly like the Rek'Sai pick. We haven't really seen too much Rek'Sai jungle lately. The last time that we saw Rek'Sai out very meta, it was in the top lane. It was a lot of sustain, but a lot of that sustain got nerfed, so we're likely going to be seeing this Rek'Sai go straight over to the jungle. And I love that Bruiser pick, going to be able to help frontline and to make sure that the Viego doesn't just get directly on top of the Misfortune, but now with the Aphelios and K'Sante picked up, I think that you got to take some kind of top laner that will do fine in the K'Sante and get rid of the Braum. And okay, we've got step 1 of the plan down for Lane Zero Maelstrom. And now that the Fiora's picked into the K'Sante, right? It's like, we've taken away the Braum. Step 2 completed. We're getting a solid composition going.
Yeah, Fiora going to be a definite split pushing threat, going to be able to force this Cassante out of most of the fights. Not going to be able to take away this MF, so she should be able to bullet time in the back line realistically for free. Thresh is going to be taken off the board as well. Aphelios Thresh, definite combo we've seen time and time again. I don't know how I feel about Aphelios though. He did get a buff. It's basically his Q damage on his Graviton, his turret, and I believe the white gun, I think, all got Q damage increases.
Yeah,
but I don't think that all that's going to be that big of a buff coming in here. I definitely, with this kind of composition, Jinx Viego would have went absolutely crazy together, getting those resets off and absolutely turning a fight around. Leona's going to be rounding out this bot side. MF Leona, you know, pretty stable composition we've had time and time again. And Annie going to be locking up the mid lane. Now, we haven't seen this really, like, ever.
Now, Annie is definitely a pick that you're not necessarily used to seeing blind, but it is going to be getting picked up over here. Now, there's a lot of ways how to deal with Annie. You know, you could outrange her, you could just look to, you know, scale into her. Syndra was the first pick that was going to come out of my mouth for the standard counter picks to Annie, right? I mean, you get to outrange her, you get to outdamage her. If Annie whiffs Tibbers, you literally grab Tibbers, throw it backwards, and then it lands directly on top of Annie. Like, Syndra genuinely does so well into that champion. I love the draft that Lane Zero Maelstrom have picked up here. You know, it's a very cohesive draft. It puts them into a very good position here. And honestly, Akuma Sides, despite being the favored team, I'm a little bit worried to see how things work out here, because a lot of this seems to really be focusing on what if we just gap them in lane? You know, what if we make it a hands game? Because the full-on, you know, composition doesn't really seem to be the draft that's what puts them in the lead here.
Yeah, and I'm starting to really feel like the Janna kind of is what throws it off. Like, I know that they drafted Leona blind and you had support counter pickup, but I wouldn't have gone Janna here. Something like the Alistar, or that was still onto the board, into Leona would be 10 times more effective, in my opinion, going against Rek'Sai and Fiora and a Leona, because if the Leona flails in, what you can essentially do on Alistar is you can have some sort of like off angle if you're not able to get in, and deny deny that engage coming in out of the Leona, and you can push the Syndra into the team, like get a nice good old pulverized headbutt into your team. And once Syndra uses E, we all know that's like a 17-second cooldown permanently. She's entirely useless, so she'll just die. So we have a great engage out of Brash straight onto the keyboarder, trying to get this lane cryo already right out on the board. But yeah, I think it's, to me, the composition kind of went awry with Akuma when they picked Janna.
I mean, I feel like Janna is once again another statement pick, right? Where if you do pick Janna, you're likely looking to crush this lane, because, you know, a lot of it is, hey, we can deny the Leona in lane, it's fine. You know, once the team fights come around, we can maybe move the Leona away, we can maybe take the Rek'Sai out of the picture, but a lot of it does kind of focus on the lane, right? It says, hey, you know, as long as Keyboarder can get into the right position with these enchanters, you should be able to do just fine and start to snowball things up. And honestly, I usually wouldn't have an issue with that, considering just how strong of a player Keyboarder is. But look right here, we're getting a full-on commitment in this bot lane already.
Yeah, Bondi already forced to use out the flash on the MF. Going into these early on objectives, we have more than enough time. It will not come back online by the time the first dragon's going to be up. This Brash may be looking for some sort of engagement with Janna there, but notices that he has to be able to respond to Viego going for that counter jungle, trying to take out the blue. Nothing realistically can stop him, especially once the Janna goes up for a little bit more resistance. So Stallion has just got to respond and go for the vertical jungle here, take out the Gromp of Mui. Best realistic response that you can possibly have here. Meanwhile, on the top side, we got Nair winning out, shoving in this lane, getting that prio up against the Cassante. Definitely going to be wanting to see the Fiora winning that out into the early game, and maybe that'll push Stallion into playing for more of these top side objectives, whereas, you know, the bot side, right now at least, is looking more so in favor of Akuma.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of focus coming in from Mui in this bot side. Right? I mean, so much over there. But speaking of which, a little bit of a gank opportunity in the mid lane.
Oh, Louis going in. The Shroud's gonna be able to come down. The Sun's able to come on up. Griffin looking for something, but the Scatter's already been used. It's on cooldown for so long. And no kill is able to come up off of the back of that. Neutral objective is going to be spawning up. We've got about a minute before this next dragon. Janna maybe looking to just stop up the back timer potentially, catch Stallion off, but Stallion has rotated on up to Grubs. Scatter the Weak's gonna be able to stun out Vietnamese cast, but nothing else comes realistically up of that, as we have a little bit of a topside scuffle. Both of these two just gonna continue to go back at it. Ooh, the parry! Straight onto the Q3 knockup, gonna get a little bit more damage coming out of Nair. And that's what this Fiora into K'Sante is realistically gonna be, because he's going to be tankier to win out on these trades later on. The enemy's cap's gotta be careful, can almost be bursted down. But the Fiora's gotta find that minimal opportunity to put on as much damage on him as possible.
And one thing I gotta note, right? So this Fiora was reserved as a counter pick in that top lane, and you know, Fiora as a champion does do well into the K'Sante, but it's a matter of getting scaled up, right? It's a matter of getting those items. Fiora has always been a champion that, you know, while she does do fine in those early game trades, in those early game pokes, once she gets items under her belt is when she can really start to make things shine. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you know, this Syndra picked up as the counter pick into the Annie works out just fine. Honestly, paying out dividends here, but I gotta say, On Your Chest is absolutely fearless here.
No flash on the MF either. Should be able to pick up first blood for the Viego. Just a little bit of a reset as well as a tick of reward, and maybe is looking to push on into this dragon. On Your Chest committing to the Bush Wookiee play there. Bondi walks up trying to get vision without their support being back in lane, and it could potentially cost them, while Stallion and Brash Griffin have responded to this river play, but realize that Vietnamese Caps is able to match out this room, and they are not confident in winning out that 4v3.
Yeah, I gotta say, right, so much of this game has actually really stemmed from the Janna. There's so many times where On Your Chest is willing to just walk straight up and just throw in, you know, the Zephyrs, just throw in, you know, the tornadoes, and it just does not matter who's in the area. This Janna, completely and totally fearless, and once you have the backup from your jungler, that lack of fear, you know, that complete and total aggression from this usually very passive enchanter honestly pays out dividends.
Yeah, definitely can catch this enemy team off guard. You got to be expecting that Lane Zero Maelstrom. They're coming into this kind of a little bit like we were expecting a little bit as well, just a tad, that, you know, the Janna just going to be this disengaged champ. Get the dock up the Rek'Sai when he looks for those engages. Knock up Brash when he's looking for these flail-ins, and just deny this kind of all-in, but he's pushing out the aggression as the flail's going to be able to come on under the tower. The Unleashed Power is coming down too, but the Tibber stun onto Brash is going to find out the kill onto the enemy support. It's a 1-for-0 trade in the mid lane, while Movie maybe looking to chase down a Stallion, but he's able to retreat into his jungle perfectly. We got Void Grubs onto the map. On Your Chest, a great tornado, but Tibbers unfortunately falls as he looks to go underneath that tower. And now this should theoretically open up the first set of Void Grubs for Mui as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've seen time and time again, where, you know, a lot of time was spent, you know, looking at players like the Keyboarder, where, you know, their KDA is amazing. Oh,
flash out of Brash too with the flail. Mui goes a little bit alone. He's just the flash ult over the wall, but any Stallion is able to clean up the kill as anyway. He roamed a little bit too alone into that. Thought it was a freebie, but Rek'Sai comes back full HP and looking for vengeance.
yeah, I mean, Prey Seeker coming in right at the very end, gonna be able to just seal the deal right there. But I gotta say, right, being in the right place at the right time is NA Stallion gonna be able to pick up those Void Grubs. So much more tower damage here, but oh, could be a big fight in this top lane. as Naire's just getting closer and closer to lethal, but I don't think Grim actually wants to fight. Just completely and totally content with just sending the Fiora back home, just going to be looking to scale back up. Meanwhile, Vietnamese Caps still struggling in this mid lane.
Stun on to Griffin. No scout of the week, no flash. Tornado lands and Mui finds a reset. 2 kills onto this Viego. I almost said, why is Viego building Lost Chapter for a minute there? I got a little bit baited. But yeah, it's going to help build up this mid lane prio. Right now, the Annie is losing out Vietnamese Caps on CS a bit, so it's going to help him get a little bit more gold in the pocket. We see the Malignance has been finished up. First person to complete an item on the Rift now off the back of that kill. Grim gonna have to burn out that Ghost. Nair just gonna be able to try and parry out the knockup, but is unfortunate on the timing. Well, Keyboarder is just sitting down here, farming up. He's hanging out. He's got a 10 CS lead, so he's completely fine with how the game's going.
I mean, honestly, that riposte from Nair was pretty well timed. Going to be able to deny the W stun directly into tower, and then Grim would be able to just lead that one into an all out, and you got your standard Cassante shenanigans right in front of the tower. But now that Grim lacks the Ghost, it's going to be a decent bit of time where Grim won't be able to force the issue onto Nair. We're not going to be seeing any opportunities for lethal, but Nair without Grand Challenge means that this Cassante does get to just do what he wants in the lane. It's just going to be very difficult to see the outright kill. In the meantime, Dragon coming up in 1 minute here means that we're likely going to be seeing a lot of action down here. We're probably not going to be seeing much from the Fiora, but I would not be surprised to see Grim make his way down, try to make something happen, but lack of teleport might make that a bit of an issue.
I have to agree. Second time pick, 100% win rate so far, Vietnamese Caps on this Annie, so could have been a sleeper pick that Lenzio Maestro maybe didn't scout out. Annie Stallion's going to be able to burrow on over the wall. On your chest, going to be able to flash out the flail coming in from Brash. Exonia Blade not able to find him this time around, and Annie Stallion is still sticking around. Keyboarder feels like he wants to fight though. He's got red and white, and you know what that exactly means. Mui is in this bot side jungle as well, so if they wanted to continue on a fight, the jungle could be there in the nick of a heartbeat. But they're both teams trying to find Prio, trying to get the second Dragon. Lenzio's trying to stop the Dragon stacking that Akuma have already begun. Akuma also having a 2k gold lead off the back of having 2 more kills here on out, as we have a solar beam coming straight on down to On Your Chest this time around is going to end up finding themselves caught out. Nui going into the Shroud, looking to continue with this fight. They have an 80 carry that's extremely strong. The Graviton gun comes out. The Moonlight Vigil is going to end up going extremely wide. Bondi finds one off the bull time. Scout of the Week is committed, and Brash's Exonia Blade isn't going to find much of anything to help clean on out the fight.
Yeah, and no junglers available here means that the Dragon lives another day here. But that was an unfortunate fight for the side of the Akuma sides there. I mean, the Keyboarder just barely dropped off of that fighting set directly before that fight. And I mean, there's only so much you can do in that moment, but okay, Bondi could be in a little bit of trouble here.
Oh yeah, rooted on up, no mana either. Maybe potentially one more auto. Unfortunately, not able to find it. On Your Chest, making their way back down into this bot side. Meanwhile, Griffin seems to be, even though down an item, still winning out in these trades in the mid lane. It still holds that CS lead. On Your Chest is just going to be able to stop up the back from Bondi. A Scout of the Week into an Unleashed Power. Vietnamese Caps felt a little bit too safe there. As On Your Chest, the barrier comes down. You at least burn out that crucial cooldown on the Eddie carry.
Yet no fear from this Janna, but not enough fear from Vietnamese Caps. Gonna get soloed out in the mid lane. As once again, Griffin's counter pick going to be working out really, really well for Lane Zero Maelstrom. Vietnamese Caps was a huge point of power for the side of Akuma sides last time we saw them on the broadcast here, but in the meantime, Nair and Grim just going toe-to-toe. It's, the classic, right? I love how much of a top lane main directed cam is because there's just constant fights up there, right? It doesn't matter whether or not they're actually gonna die. What matters is it's constant blood being shed. And right now, you've only got a 5 CS lead from the side of Fiora as she's just going to continue to scale up. But the enemy's Caps, on the other hand, getting all
And the
in
week goes
on.
wide. Tibbers comes down the Q, nearly enough damage to find NA Stallion.
Oh.
They're trying to get the kill on over to Griffin, but it hasn't come up yet. This would be a blunder. Flash over the wall into the stun off. It's going to be Viego, not finding much of anything. Scatter the Week's just going to be able to push on out Tibbers. Brash looking for a potential flail onto On Your Chest, but a great knockout coming in out of the Rek'Sai, going straight on into the parry to stop up the stun, and in turn stuns Viego. Lane Zero Maelstrom, they're looking phenomenal in this game so far.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible play coming out from Lane Zero Maelstrom. There was just so much riding on that, just super low, so much. Oh, hold on. Play continues.
Keyboarder forced to use that flash and cleanse with the monsoon. It's just going to be able to push them straight on away. On Your Chest might give their life here. And Brownie going to be eating up a turret shot. So Keyboarder and On Your Chest extremely weak at the moment. On Your Chest had to burn out the heal. So not going to be able to really sustain in this lane much longer. Although the red gun is able to come on out. But that you want to back, reset, and then look for a fight with those guns.
In the meantime, mid lane still quite a bit of suffering. I mean, counter picks are counter picks for a reason, right? Usually when you do find yourself with a blind pick, it's going to be a pick that's incredibly strong despite being into a counter pick here. And I do think that Annie is one of those champions that does end up being very powerful for the team outside of the laning phase, right? It's a matter of how much can you survive in here? How can you keep your opponent from snowballing? Meanwhile, Griffin on the Syndra, gonna be able to get so much priority, gonna be able to just allow for so many of these plays.
Oh, the Scatter of the Week goes wide out of Griffin, but the Unleashed Power is able to clean the kill onto the Janna. Movie gets out with their life. The support trades it on out. And, that's a worthwhile trade coming on out. You definitely want your jungler to be able to live, but it's not really all for much because he still can't farm up any of these camps. NA Stallion with these invades are absolutely phenomenal, realizing that the Rek'Sai at the moment is light years ahead of the Viego. 4-1 Stridebreaker is built on line 2. And so going up against a just Kraken Slayer on the opposite side, the Viego realistically has to rely on getting a reset, and Rek'Sai can burn him down before that is able to go and happen. We got Luden's Companion finished up for the Syndra as well, so it's going to have a lot of burst damage, so I'm going to be expecting the Syndra to match these Rek'Sai roams and invades into the enemy jungle. Like we saw there, the Unleashed Powers comes out. They're going to be able to find realistically 1 kill every single time.
Yeah, I mean, Bruiser Rek'Sai coming in clutch. Stridebreaker already fully completed, going to be able to just do anything that he wants here with NA Stallion. But right now, Mui still the first one to the neutral objective. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, but this time, finally, Mui does have backup. So, going to be able to pick up this Rift Herald without getting fully collapsed on by Lane Zero Maelstrom. So now Akuma Size do have the neutral objectives under their belt here, at least the ones from the top side of the map, because we've really only seen the bottom side neutral objectives so far. But dragon stacking, not really something that we're thinking about right now, as the Rift Herald's going to be crashing in soon.
That's a great engage onto On Your Chest. Bullet time comes out. They've already committed 2 ultimates. The Solar Beam is just going to get pushed away. Scatter Leak onto Mui. Do they have enough damage with the Unleashed Power? No, it's not going to be nearly enough, but the Rift Herald crashes into the mid lane, and it's all for nothing, really. It is not going to get a mid-tier 2, and instead, a wave's going to be crashed into you, and you're going to find your mid-tier 1 being potentially traded on out here if you are Akuma. So the play goes completely awry, and instead you've given over your teammates your tower. Vietnamese Caps forced to burn out the flash here. It has to shield on up just to be able to get on out. Tippers is going to be picked up and tossed straight on back to Akuma. Return to sender, so you may please. And it's just going to be Lane Zero Maelstrom just taking a little bit of a reset, taking it back off here. They got Dragon coming up in a few seconds, and they definitely have the prow to be able to fight for this. Grim has returned and dropped down into this fight as Nair is there as well, looking for a little bit of frontline Fiora we got going on here. We need to see Nair potentially find some sort of these flank angles, get onto Vietnamese Caps, get onto On Your Chest, and get these kind of like kills. Maybe even if you can find Keyboarder. That's where we can see the Fiora shine. Nair's going to be pushing out this mid wave, maybe looking for some kind of angle onto Keyboarder, but that's going to respawn 3 members into this mid wave and open up the Dragon Pit. So now you have to fight in to the side of Lane Zero Maelstrom if you are the Akuma Blades, and when you're fighting into a Leona, your odds are never in your favor. Scream is looking for some sort of engage. Kind of the weak to be able to stun up to Nair. Finds a great spell parry onto the unstopped Cassante. Brash gets the Azonia Blade straight on in. The Solar Beam's able to come down, but he's going to trade on his life for this. It's a 5v4 within this river bush right now. They force the flash on in. It's Mui trying to find some sort of execute, but is unable to find anything just yet. A little bit of reset coming in from the Leona has expired, and the dragon will be picked up for Akuma.
Yeah, and Cilantro finally gets the opportunity to breathe here as the constant fighting, just constant action back and forth between these two teams as, you know, Akuma side, came in here the expected winners, right? I mean, first seed in their group. Meanwhile, Lane Zero Maelstrom, you know, definitely, you know, far from the first seed in their group, putting up quite the fight, straight up in the lead as far as gold is concerned here. But, you know, the moment that the team fight comes around, you're going to start seeing the value of these picks. I mean, now you're taking so much damage from Vietnamese caps on the Annie here. And I mean, like I said, right, Annie, one of those champions that as long as you can get past the laning phase, she's very, very effective. And now that the laning phase is over, Vietnamese Cap's going to be able to do what he does best and, you know, just going to be able to get some gold under his belt, play the side lanes well, and then look to play the team fights. I gotta say, this man's got some pretty great fancy feet. We've seen so many dodges on so many of these skill shots, but a lot of the times when you're laning into Syndra, you only really need to be getting hit by one, right, for the lane to end. And that's the reason why we're seeing so much struggling from the Annie up until that point. But now the fearless Janna going to be getting completely zeroed out, finally getting punished for that aggressive positioning there. But now that we're getting later and later into the game, these Death Timers are going to start climbing up more and more, and the Baron health bar is going to start dropping.
That's for sure. With the support picked away, you could look for some sort of flip. You have to win out into the 5v4. Well, sorry to say 4v3 right now, because Grim is responding to Nair into this bot side, eating up a ton of damage so far. The Ravenous Hydra putting in the work. They're going to be looking to build into the Triforce next for this split pushing Warlord on Fiora. And so for the Baron, it's not spotted out. It's being started. Mui's into the bot side. They might, if they take this very slowly, I'll give you that, but they can take this. It's already down to about 7k. Avilios, Vietnamese caps are in the area trying to deny it, but you can't deny a smite without a smite. Mui is finally going to be respawning into this area, and now that will be Lane Zero Maelstrom's cue to hop on off of the Baron.
Yeah, I mean, that was super, super spooky. It was a very slow Baron take. I mean, you don't really have something like a Vayne, something like a Brand, like nothing with like percent max health damage where you're going to be able to just start to shred this thing. But in the meantime, once again, it is on your chest with the aggressive positioning on the Janna. I was just willing to run straight in and be like, hey, you know, maybe they're doing Baron. I'm just gonna walk in. If they're doing it, I'm gonna walk back out and I'll be fine. And I mean, either way, you know, Akuma side's gonna be able to stop that one with the deterrent of Vietnamese caps. I gotta say, a Malignance Tibber ulti directly into the middle of the team there would be absolutely devastating. You know, on your chest, straight up tanking tower shots, trying to get like 1 or 2 more autos onto that tower. But the mid tower for Lane Zero Maelstrom still stands to this day.
Yeah, with the little sliver of HP that it does have, it's still alive. The Thunder Sky is going to be picked up as well for NA Stallion. So Lane Zero Maelstrom still in a really significantly good spot. They got about a 3k gold lead. The Rabadons has been rushed up for the Syndra. Most probably sitting around the 120 stack mark right about now. So is going to be getting that boost in execute power and AP ratios. So definitely want to be finishing off that item next. And the next neutral objective will be the soul for Akuma Blades. It is a mountain soul. And that could be the turn tider, because right now the game feels a little bit neck and neck. But getting that objective, your 3 dragons up to none, where Lane Zero Maelstrom, they have 6 Void Grubs. So across the map, they're kind of winning out the game. And that's what leads to them getting a gold lead, which leads to
Oh.
them getting a fight. As on your chest, forced to pop the Unsoon. And that's going to be more than enough healing to be able to stop up the Execute coming in from Unleashed Power. But that's a crucial ultimate and cooldown already ticking off of the board going into this Dragon fight. We've got about 23 seconds. Grim looking to be able to push it's a front line for this mid lane fight. Vietnamese Caps finding the Timbers on the Griffin. The burn's going to be ticking down. The Vietnamese Caps might be trading out the bullet time with Stallion engaging. Are able to find that one out. Grim's going to be stunned up into the back line looking for something as Stallion's forced to flash. Knock up Mui, who flashes in response. Going to be able to take that burrow. Going straight back onto this enemy jungler. Stridebreaker committed so he cannot run away. Nair cleans up the kill and is going to get a bot lane for his reward as well. And you get a mid-tier 1, but that's about all you realistically can. TP coming out of Griffin here. Maybe just trying to stop some sort of Baron angle. Brash is pushing for this. Do they feel they have the strength to clean this up? It's quite possible Bonnie's going to be there. Oh, they're going to give.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complete and total, disengage coming in from Akuma's sides here, just not going to even entertain the idea of going for Baron after that teleport there. Griffin, played a very dangerous game there, but going to be able to come out of it on top, standing in the way 1v3 with Brash very much in the back row there, but not going to be pushing the issue too much more. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing a lot more scaling as this game goes on, right? I mean, the dragon stacking has been denied. It's going to be at least, another 4.5 minutes until we see another attempt towards that dragon. But in the meantime, Akuma sides, they are still looking to scale, but I don't know. Sometimes the gold is really where it's at, and Lane Zero Maelstrom have been able to pick up a non-insignificant gold lead as time goes on. This is looking more and more grim for Akuma sides here, especially as they posture around Baron. They don't exactly have the Baron DPS, but if you can force a fight around Baron, it could be devastating.
I agree. On your chest, maybe caught out in this mid lane here.
It's
Bullet Rain's
Janna.
gonna come down. Yeah, I mean, Janna move speed, yeah, I agree. But on your chest, that's been, caught out a little bit here and there in the past couple of minutes. So they've been finding the kills on this Janna, maybe playing a little bit too fearless. Is Nair looking to take out this bot side tier 2 and get it. Grim's not going to be able to stop him. A great Dawn engage. Monsoon's going to be able to come down, but the full time onto Vietnamese Caps the stun. It lasts too long, and they find the kill off the back of Griffin. Scatter the Week's coming down as we unleash power finds the execute onto the Janna. And, we found our Baron opener angle out of lane 0 Maelstrom.
Yeah, 2 down, and while the keyboarder is still alive, Aphelios alone is not going to be able to stop this Baron take here. Right now, Mui just looking for an opportunity to get on in there, but likely not going to be able to see any opportunity here. Griffin also going to be able to stun up the Viego. Brash coming in to make sure that there's no chance of it. Meanwhile, Bonnie and NA Stallion going to be continuing to take this Baron very, very slowly as the bot fight begins. Extra stats for Nair, definitely going to be feeling good though, but not going to be doing too much more than that. And I was saying it right at the beginning of the game, Cilantro. The Fiora into the Cassante is honestly going to be doing fine, but it's really once Fiora gets a hold of those items and gets scaled up, which is when you're really going to see the value of this Fiora pick. And now with 3 items under his belt, Nair going to be putting so much hurt onto Grim. You can buy as many resistances as you want, Grim, but percent max health true damage that also heals the Fiora is definitely not something you want to be running into.
I don't disagree. I think that the Nair Fiora has the win out here, as they maybe found Brash. Scatter the Week's going to be able to push out this Cassante, at least for the time being. NA Stallion's there for a little bit of the peel. Mui is not a little bit late to the fight, so not able to find the stun off CC combo onto Brash, but that's a support still, so probably not wanting to go full on out engage onto that one. Caps.
Warmogs.
Stun up online. Yeah, Warmog's still very good on support. At least it's not first item anymore. Stallion maybe finding an angle into Movie. Great scatter to the weak. The Solar Flare is going to be a response as well. As Any Stallion going straight on to Movie. Sends him back to the respawn timer. With Baron buff and 6 Void Grubs, I'm smelling defeat here. There's realistically nothing you realistically can do. All of the dragons in your pocket aren't going to mean anything because these Void Grubs are about to just destroy the rest of the turrets that you have standing. Bonnie just shooting up as much as possible. Oh, it's a great flail onto the keyboarder. Ignite committed as well. Grim maybe trying to find at least one kill off onto Griffin. Okay, he's able to get that. Keyboarder fighting forward with the red and white guns on the brush. Maybe they can find at least 2 kills. Has to burn out. It is not going to be able to find anything. Shut down at least, but it's too little, too late. Lane 0 Maelstrom with an upsetting game number 1 win.
Yeah, a huge upset to start off the series. Beautifully played and beautifully drafted from Lane 0 Maelstrom. I mean, there was so many times where, you know, I said, hey, well, this is what they need to do. This is what they need to, you know, have in the right position. And not only did they do right by, you know, the prediction, they did right by pro comps, they did right by the game, by the composition, by their win conditions, and by game 1 as by Akuma Scythes, game 1 under the belt of Lane 0 Maelstrom. If game number 1 is an indicator of anything, this is bound to be a much more interesting series than we might have anticipated. So don't go anywhere before we hit you up with game number 2.
I see you, peekaboo, I see you, looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go
empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
All right, welcome back. Don't refresh your screen. Don't go anywhere. Don't blink. The scoreline is exactly as it looks. We may have some production issues here and there, but we promise you that this one's not on us. This one's fully on Lane Zero Maelstrom. They come out sweeping in game number 1 against Akuma Blades, and now they're on the verge of taking the series 2-0. Now, Anti, talk to me. How big of a defeat could this be for AKM going into playoffs just 2 weeks away?
I mean, I gotta say, one, it is a cross group match, right? So this doesn't really matter in terms of the standings, but that is not only a large mental blow, but it also just shows their team, shows other teams, what they can do in order to try to take down the Akuma sides. Because, it's like, hey, well, if they're struggling with this, if they're struggling with that, that's something that we can really try to take advantage of. It's something that we've seen time and time again where, one team will just randomly drop a set here or there, or drop a game here or there to a much lower level team because, they're not necessarily taking them seriously. But, other super high, consistently high level teams will take the games that they have dropped and try to turn those into the winning formula, right? And when I say lower level teams, it's not necessarily a team that's, got significantly worse players or something like that. A team like Lane Zero Maelstrom, I think the thing that really just holds them back, if anything, is they have great peaks. It's just a matter of keeping those flashes of brilliance and fostering them into a full on fire. And I gotta say, that draft in that last game, phenomenal. I loved that draft. Honestly, if you told me that Pro Comps drafted that one for them, I'd believe you. It was great.
It's quite possible Akuma may be taking a little bit of a different route than their normal drafting strategy, maybe underestimating the Lane Zero Maelstrom team coming on into this. But now we're sitting at the point of a potential 2-0, so maybe we'll be back to the seriousness, the serious AKM. We're going to see some more comfort draft picks. Their usual dominant champions may be picked up once again coming into this just to take us to a full-on game number 3. Maybe Lane Zero Maelstrom have learned a bit of the ways that this AKM team likes to operate. The Viego did look very strong. It looked very good. Vietnamese caps on this Annie didn't quite look too terrible. So champions that maybe you want to take away this time around and develop some sort of new draft strategy to fight around what AKM is going to draft on into this. I mean, Lane Zero, honest to God, have the possibilities to take this game 2-0, and I think it would be phenomenal if we go on ahead and saw them do it.
I mean, I would love to see that happen, but I also got to say, Akuma do have to change up quite a few things with their draft. Well, now, when you're on the blue side, the number one things that you manage to do is you get to pick up the super OP champions of the patch, and we did not see that from the Akuma sides. I mean, we got the Cassante, we got Annie, we got Viego on blue side first pick, something that's not necessarily going to be super ultra heavily contested, right? A lot of these picks are not bad picks by any means, but are they picks that can justify just being completely thrown in blind and guaranteeing you're going to get counterpicked? I'm not too sure about that. So now that we're going into game 2, we're gonna have to see a bit of a difference here. And now that we're talking about draft a bit, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to our sponsor, Pro Comps.
Yeah, Pro Comps, it's a phenomenal source of client usage for your team. If you are an amateur team looking to get coached and you haven't been able to pick up a coach, Pro Comps will basically be able to study your drafts in lifetime feed, right? It's free to get, free to install. Just a couple clicks of the button, heading on over to their website, you can find it. It will tell you the proper ways that you should be playing out your matchups, what you can build, and help you develop pre-game strategies with your amateur team, or even help you out in solo queue. If you're struggling, say, to play Cassante into Fiora, you can use Pro Comps to help you figure out how you should be doing that.
Yeah, but now that we are into the draft, we can see a few specific changes here. So for one, Lane Zero Maelstrom now on the blue side, not going to be having the double counter pick that we saw in that last game. And I gotta say, that double counter pick paid off dividends for them in that last game. And now Now that you're on blue sides, you're going to be taking away the Kasante. Meanwhile, the Akuma sides are just looking to take away the specific picks that they were having a lot of trouble with before. So the Rek'Sai going to be taken off the table from NA Stallion. The Hwei once again going to be taken off. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Ashe take away as well. Poppy being banned means that we are opening up some possibilities for Nair. If this is an Irelia angle, I don't know. At the very least, right, what Poppy does open up, it opens up champions like the Rel, like the Zap, like the Irelia. You know what I mean? Dashing, heavy dashing based champions that have the ability to just move around and just wreak havoc as long as you have that dash available. But now with the Ezreal, you've got some of those OPs on the patch, and Aurora pick up right here for the Akuma sides. Okay, so I gotta say, I haven't seen too much of this champion. I honestly don't know just how powerful she is. What I do know is she's incredible at denial, right? It's so difficult to actually pin down this champion, to actually get a kill on this champion. And she can clear the waves, she can get the damage off, she can set up the team fights, but it's so difficult to kill her.
So what I could basically say is going up against this champion, drafting Exodia is kind of a little difficult because of her ultimate. If you are within it, you cannot get out. You will bounce straight back on in. She can run around it and do as much damage as she pleases. And if you try to enter it, you get giga slowed and cannot move around within the ultimate. So it could be a massive pickup here for AKM if they're deciding to draft something like an Exodia comp. It's essentially like you're fighting around a Kindred ultimate and fighting within a Kindred ultimate, but you can die inside of it. It's that powerful as an entry denier and can isolate one or two targets like Syndra or like Renekton here perfectly, because Renekton gets caught into it, not going to be able to get on out. Can't dash out of it, just bounce back.
All right, so we are getting an update that the Ornn is actually a Xerath pickup here. So Xerath into Syndra, significantly different from the Annie pick that we saw last time, right? You know, a lot of the time when you have something like Annie, the idea is that you want to outrange her. But now the Xerath pickup is going to be able to outrange the Syndra. And now I gotta say, very interesting decisions here with the Vi pickup as the counter to the Sejuani. Not the counter pick per se, but the pick chosen for their counter here. So this is very much a lockdown single person and don't let them play the game, right? I mean, Vi hits R, Renekton, flashes in with the W, Syndra just scatters the weak, and a lot of this team composition is just to get one person off of the table.
We have Aurora top.
We've got a Pyke as well. Aurora top is something that I honestly was anticipating to see this champion live, now that we have the Xerath. But the Pyke is something that could be terrifying, right? Ezreal Karma, very, very strong poke bot lane, but if you can get the ball rolling with Pyke, I've said it once, I'll say it again, Pyke is a toddler champion. You take a little bit of damage in lane, all of a sudden you just walk into a bush, you don't actually take any of that damage, you hit level 6, all of a sudden your team is going to be guaranteed to be a heading bull. It doesn't really matter if you get super far behind, because you always have that snowball capability, is what I would say if I was coping a little bit. But I mean, in the right hands, Pyke can feel so unbelievably oppressive and on your chest. As we've seen before, has literally zero fear.
Yeah. Pyke also very good Giga roaming champion right now. Can affect the map in basically all lanes and all agencies. Extremely powerful. Can make very good use of the new symbiotic boots as well, if they decide to go ahead and build that up. But we will see. Kai'Sa's not really the strongest AD carry to lead by themselves comparatively to the Ezreal. And with a Karma into the bot side as well picked on up, that's going to be a ton of poke damage coming down straight on to the keyboarder. So Bond maybe taking just a 1 or 2 mystic shots just to be able to clean on up the kills. So gotta be careful with these roam timers if you are on your chest, because if Brash doesn't match your roam timer, which Karma realistically cannot, they could find full on all-in angles onto keyboard, already eating a Mystic Shot, mind you, and that could devastate this lane, as Ezreal is the #1 lane bully champion in the game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I mean, we're getting quite a bit of poke from these two in the bot lane. As you know, we said, Ezreal Karma, phenomenal poke duo here. Meanwhile, Brash taking quite a bit of damage here, and I gotta say, so top lane, right? Nair on the Renekton. This was a pick that was completely banned away from Nair in that last game, but now Grim on the Aurora should be able to deny a lot of the power from this Renekton. Now, I said before, right? The #1 thing about this champion, it's so hard to kill Aurora, especially on, you know, an auto attack based champion, right? Like, the most that I've seen with Aurora is playing against it with the Irelia, right? And you get in, you get a stun, you get an opportunity to look for a kill on most champions, and then Aurora says, all right, what if you just couldn't auto attack me? And all of a sudden, a lot of that ability to really put out that damage gets denied by the Aurora pick.
That is true. Well, on your chest, gonna be able to find the arcane shift into the stun. Bondi, that one was a little bit too aggressive coming out of the Ezreal. A nice hook is gonna find, and a Stallion trying to be able to fight back, but is gonna be able to. Keyboarder picks up another kill. Ooh, the mistakes already coming out from Lancel Maelstrom, and on two very strong early game champions, picking up some of those kills. This is looking a great start for Akuma. You were just gifted a present.
Yeah, I mean, Bondi pulling off his best Jackie Love impression, gonna just arcane shift directly in, and unfortunately for him, Mui just in the right place at the right time. 2 kills going straight over to the Akuma sides here, and most importantly, one of those going directly into the pocket of the keyboarder, which, yeah, as we've seen before, so much power here. Meanwhile, Grim in a lot of trouble, but it is Aurora. Okay.
Yeah. Grim is able to Grim does go down. The Renekton able to find out the solo Bolo. The top side has to bring up the flash, goes flash for flash though. Grim's gonna be responding with the TP, so Nair has to be able to push out this wave as fast as possible. On your chest, Hook's gonna end up going completely wide. Keyboarder looking to be able to try and dodge out these Mystic Shots. We got first Dragon coming up and on the map here. And the next 30 seconds to Sejuani already trying to push this bot side advantage that he has. And this is going to be the power of this fight. Just going to be able to come in to these jungle invades on the bot side that Mui can basically press these advantages as much as he wants time and time again. Keyboarder just going to be taking a reset, filling up that HP, cashing in a little bit of the gold. It looks like they're not going to be looking to go ahead and start this dragon off rip, probably because they have spotted Stallion is in this bot side. Instead, maybe they are going to go for the Void Grublings. We'll see how Mui decides the path. It's looking like looking like maybe it wants the path for the Void Grublings instead.
I mean, the one thing that I will note, right, with this Sejuani, likely going to be seeing a lot of focus towards that bot side, right? Because we've got 0 melee solo lanes from the side of the Akuma side. So in the meantime, lane 0 Maelstrom going to be having a pretty good time in their solo lanes. Griffin is going to continue to farm up with the Syndra until you hit level 6 and all of a sudden have the ability to look for a one-shot onto Vietnamese caps. Meanwhile, the bot lane has the singular other melee champion with On Your Chest on that pike, but right now with Grim in a little bit of trouble, should be a little bit prepared for Mui to come on in to stop Nair.
Alrighty, well, Mui's coming in, looking for it. The dominance is going to go ahead and be Proctor Leon building up that rage meter, and a Stallion is matching up this roam. He's going to find the stun on the Mui. Flash Vault Breaker's going to get W'd on out. Isn't that a wonderful ability onto a champion? It's completely phenomenal. And a Stallion finding the trade out onto Mui, at least looking to get this Aurora, who's still going out in this. So the Vault Breaker will find the trade-off anyway. Root's going to be able to come down off the back of this Karma's going to get a little bit of the shield up just to get some more HP going, and a Stallion finds 2 in response in the top side.
Yeah, and beautiful stuff coming in from Lane Zero. Maelstrom going to be able to pull it back from the brink. Grim with a beautiful... Grim with, you know, the kill onto Nair, just going to be a solid pick here. But I gotta say, Aurora really does throw a huge wrench into the plans of basically everyone here, right? Honestly, my biggest question is how much scrimming has Akuma Sides done with the Aurora? Like, how well do you know this champion? Does Grim really have what it takes to make it work? It's only time will tell. But in the meantime, Nair in a pretty solid position here as Bondi going to barely not get tagged by that hook on your chest, in a solid position, but already getting out-roamed by the Karma this early on is not what we anticipated.
I agree. Interesting to see that, talking about the Aurora, that Grim's opting for the Rod of Ages build. I don't think that's... I think that's the safe build on Aurora, but everyone seems to be building right now, and mostly everyone's just following suit. I don't even think that that's the best build, personally, because I've seen where essentially you build Rylai's, and you could get like triple slow procs off of the Q, because your initial hit with the Q slows, and then you can, once then that slow is gonna run out, and then because you have like a triple auto attack or ability hit, ability / auto attack on you, you can hit an auto attack and slow again, and then by the time you hit your third Q for the empowered stack on the passive skill, it'll slow again and do more damage. I was watching some Korean builds come out with that on the champion. Then you build into Leandries for the burn procs, and then you go Rift Maker to be tanky. So stuff like that's going to be coming out, as going straight on in with the ultimate on the Aurora. Gets stunned straight on up from the Scout of the Week. Griffin able to clean on that one up. Now they're just starting to bully the new champion.
Yeah, I mean, you know, new champion, new strategies, and new opportunities, but right now it's not looking like a new chance for the Akuma Sides, as I don't really know how much the Aurora is going to be doing down 1-3 here. Meanwhile, they're looking for a trade off into this bot side. Bondi and Brash, though, doing quite a bit of damage in response.
Look at the wave. It's the best bet you can potentially do to live this one out. Bondi trying to be able to do so. Xerath ultimate is going to be committed. It's a hook is going to be able to find Bondi. Ignite's committed. Keyboarder is fallen. They're still alive. They may be able to find 2. They are able to find 2. Can they get more? It's going to be Vietnamese Caps eating turrets off of right and center, so it's going to be at least 2 for 1.
Bondi's alive.
Bondi still alive. Mystic Shot lands on the Vietnamese Caps. Can he dodge out the Q? He can. Arcane Shift back on to the tower. The W Vietnamese Caps got to land these skill shots. It's going skill shot for skill shot right now in the bot side. No level 6 on your chest, so can't go for this execute. This has got to be the Q dodge of a century here. Oh, baby. It's on your chest, catching out the wave. Brash's return, though. Because if it's all, he can't dodge the W.
Just barely. And Arcane Shot, like Mystic Shot is available, but Bondi is likely not going to be able to respawn in time to stop Vietnamese Caps from backing. But beautifully played dive from Lane Zero Maelstrom. I mean, what was that? 2 for 3? No, 2 for 2. Right, but 2 for 2 in a 2v4 is unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, then we also got to talk about what Griffin was able to pick up off of that. He got the top side kills, then comes back into the mid lane, and Vietnamese Caps isn't there. So he's able to just push out waves time and time again, and further extend this CS lead. Brash gonna get stunned up off of the hook. Not realistically going to be too much build coming out, as the execute is finally going to be able to come down, but it's traded out at least 1 for 1. Keyboarder has the advantage in the auto attacks here, at least onto Bondi, as Nair just goes completely tower dive on to this Aurora. So far, not finding much value into this game, but it's going to be the later half of the game, the team fights, where she's realistically going to be able to come alive. Nair with the dominance proc might be able to win out this one. Has forced to go into the tower of the rage meter. Is he going to find the flash? No, not able to get the slice and dice in the nick of time. Scatter the weak stun onto Vietnamese Caps, though. Another ability dodge battle happening into the mid lane, but Mui, that was Oh, that was not looking good for you.
That was
luckily the tower was
spooky
there.
as hell. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, right? Naire's Renekton was completely banned out in the last game, and this time around, it's like, okay, well, we'll leave the Renekton open. We've got the counter pick. We've got the Aurora. And I don't think the Aurora's really doing it. I don't know if Aurora's necessarily a counter pick here. I mean, I think that it works well into champions like, you know, Irelia, who require more auto attacks than just the single auto W auto. But Renekton has quite a bit of ability damage, right? I mean, going completely invisible into Renekton, not a bad thing per se, but it's not going to be a huge damage cut in the same way that you're dealing with an auto attacker, like if it's Camille or if it's Irelia or if it's like, you know, Yasuo or Yone, right, where the auto attacks really, really matter. Meanwhile, Naire's just, oh my god, Grim, don't do it.
What is happening? They're like baiting each other. They're just playing a game of chicken. Nair is just going and just proxying wave after wave after wave, pushing up this CS lead because he's not scared of this champion whatsoever.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the slight bit of tower health left for that plate is slowly going down. Another 125 over to the Crocodile. I gotta see, what's the gold difference in this top lane?
Gotta
Because,
be at least 1,000.
man, Grim is not having a good time.
I think it has to be at least 1,000. Speaking of not having a good time, this bot side, third time Gank's going to be able to come down. Bondi uses the Arcane Shift, and the hook's going to be there in return. Be able to find the kill clean up. Glacial Prism is going to be able to hit up the turret. Double kill for the Kai'Sa. So at least you're winning out into the bot side. You got one carry online for the side of AKM, and it's pretty heavily ahead. That's a 2k gold lead on a Kai'Sa. That's absolutely absurd. The CS gap is astronomical between the two as well. So Kai'Sa, as we know, a champion that definitely can win out the game for a team, but where it's going to be the battle of what's stronger, top lane or bot lane later on into this game, as the second dragon's going to go ahead and be picked up from AKM. Going to be starting up this soul. Oh, that one was close, Bondi. That one was really close. Almost able to find a steal onto there, but we have an Ocean Soul in this game. As the speed boost onto Nair, Brash giving him the shield speed boost, but not going to be able to find the engage onto Grim. And not again, man. Leave this man alone for at least 5 minutes, please. No, don't do it again.
Yeah, but as we get into the swing of things, let's just take a quick look at, you know, how the game state is, you know, looking. So we've got the Xerath and the Syndra essentially even up in the gold, and you know, as the game goes later on, Xerath's going to be able to poke down the Syndra as they get into these team fights. And I do think that the Akuma sides do have the ability to just kind of take team fights as they are, as long as you can stay in a position to avoid the Vi ultimate, right? So NA Stallion being able to hit R is the #1 wrench in the Akuma side's plans. In the meantime, right, while you do have a very fed Renekton, it's Renekton, right? Renekton is the epitome of very strong early game champion that will eventually turn into a meat wall, you know, not necessarily particularly strong in the later stages of the game. Like, yes, if an AD carry lets the Renekton get on top of them, they will die, but they deserve to.
I agree.
Should not in any way have a Renekton on top of you, but
Oh.
Griffin not quite going to be able to zero out the enemy's caps, and you know, there's just the chance of the mid lane not going to be able to get that mystic shot there. But in the meantime, you know, Griffin can flash
flashes
out.
Oh no, this turned on your chest in the nick of a dime. He thought he was gonna have a free Syndra solo Boldo with the ultimate, but no. Griffin has flash, flashes out the stun, gets hit by Scatter of the Weak too, and finds himself a kill. TP coming into the mid lane just to be able to stop this turret take. That's gonna be Vietnamese Caps returning to their lane. But Bondi and Brash are here. Movie's coming down to the mid lane as well. gonna be Xerath ult committed. TP as well coming out. That's going, I believe that one's Griffin coming up into the mid lane here.
Oh.
Season is straight underneath the turret. Scatter of the week comes out. Glacial Prism goes completely wide, not able to find anything, but Griffin's caught out in the middle of 4 members.
He lives!
Is able to get at least 1 with the 2 with the executed ultimate. Nair is in the fight though. This is where the Renekton may be able to come alive, go for a little bit of cleanup, couple of squishies on the side, but he needs to build up the rage meter just to be able to heal on up. But another mid-tower take going awry in this series. This time, it was Lane Zero Maelstrom trying to find the turret.
Yeah, in the meantime, Onion Chest just gonna get completely zeroed out. I mean, tower does so much damage, but the keyboarder going godlike 8 kills on the Kai'Sa. Now, I do believe, so if we can see just how much gold the keyboarder has, I think this should be just barely enough to pick up the components necessary to evolve the W. Okay, yeah, that's definitely enough. It's what, like 850 plus 900 on that, so should be able to get a fully evolved W now on the Kai'Sa. Yeah, but in the meantime, as we said, right, the Renekton very, very strong right now. 3 kills to his name, but Nair just doesn't really have an opportunity to get on top of the keyboarder, and keyboarder right now is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and we've just hyped up this player so many times in the past, especially on these super strong hyper carry ability AD carries. Griffin, on the other hand, in a lot of trouble.
Might be turning on to Mui though. On your chest is coming straight on down. We have a 4v3 into the bot side. W out of keyboard is going to end up going wide into TP flank. Nair's coming into the fight. He wants to get a little bit of the action. Going straight on to Vietnamese Caps. Going to get stunned on up. Keyboarder is ulted straight into the Renekton though. You know, you talked about an 80 carry. We're getting the Crocodile on top of them. Forced to burn out the flash, but he finds the kill anyway. Just shut down over to the Renekton. The Mystic Shot's able to find a double kill for a Bondi and stun out of Vietnamese Caps, able to clean up Brash in this fight. And A-Stallion trying to run down Vietnamese Caps. Vault Breaker, if he can land it. No, instead, it's just going to let the Xerath to their own accords. Has to reset here. But what a fight win for Lane Zero Maelstrom.
Yeah, I mean, directly next to the Renekton is literally never where you want to be, as we've said before. An 80 carry that has a Renekton directly on top of them, especially one as mobile as the Kai'Sa, with flash and barrier and ultimate up, just should die like 100% of the time. And that's exactly what happens in the end. Keyboarder going to get zeroed out. It doesn't matter how much gold you have if you're standing next to a Crocodile whose entire job is to make sure you don't get to play the game.
On your chest has to retreat on out. Hook not able to find much of anything. We got about another dragon fight channeling on up here. Vietnamese Caps. Stun's gonna go awry, and that's gonna be NA Stallion's Q to go straight on it. Scatter the weak able to find out the Xerath as well. Maybe looking to get the cease and desist online and Gluck to go onto Keyboarder with Nair, but they're gonna go ahead and start up this dragon. Things are starting to die down just a little bit. Mui maybe looking for some sort of angle to come on in. As the Glacial Prism just about off cooldown here in the next couple of seconds. Scatter the right weak is missed on out. That's crucial cooldown gone. Mui is sort of 1v1ing a Rift Herald right now as it's running into their face. Not going to be able to stop this one from being able to hit up the turret. Nair wants to find an engage onto this jungler, but no, Grim may be the one caught out, unfortunately, here. On your chest, looking to play a little bit of heals. True Shot Frost going to come down for a little bit of extra damage. Body's going to arcane shift forward. On your chest going to get rooted up by the Karma W, and they're able to find up the kills. The TP is a little bit interesting because the tower is not existent. Dominance with the Rage Meter. Dyer's going to be able to clean up Mui, and the Ezreal is finding his way back into the game off of the cleanup with the Mystic Shots.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Griffin's just able to shove down this mid lane, so Keyboarder doesn't have anywhere to go. Vietnamese Caps can't even get close enough to the wave, and meanwhile, the full team going in under tower. Keyboarder still alive, still pumping out damage, but 1-for-1 is not what you want to see for Akuma's sides when that's essentially, what, 1-for-4?
Overall, I think so.
Yeah, this is so tough for Akuma sides here, as Lane Zero Maelstrom have found ways how to get right back into the swing of things. As I said before, right, the #1 wrench in their plans is NA Stallion on this buy gonna be able to just throw himself in with that ultimate, right? Gonna be able to say, hey, I know that you want to just play it slow. I know you want to just play it poke, but we're going to fight right now, whether you want to or not. Nair, always able to follow up, always able to be in the right spot at the right time, do so much damage on the Renekton, and Keyboarder just doesn't really seem to get a chance to play the game here, which, you know, uncharacteristic from a player of this caliber.
You know, you talked about the Renekton just being a meat shield, being so far ahead in lane. It realistically wasn't going to do much towards the later half of the game, but Nair is proving, showing up big here. And when you have an immobile champion, such as Vietnamese Caps' Xerath here, all Nair really has to take up, there's four squishy champions on the opposite side of Akuma Blades. He should just take out one. Go in with the dominance, rock off, get off, kill one of them. He gets on the Vietnamese Caps. What's Vietnamese Caps going to do? He can't get away. It's the most mobile champion in the game, Xerath. It's actually, the champion literally needs a rework. Every other champion in the game, except for Syndra, I guess, has a dash or some sort of get out ability. And Xerath is just, I missed my stun. I guess I'm dead. And all the Renekton has to do is get on to one of these squishy champions on your chest. Keyboarder, Vietnamese Caps, Grim. Find one of these, take them out of the fight, and NA Stallion, Brash, Bondi, they have the damage. Griffin with an execute onto, again, 4 squishy champions. And one scatter of the weak into a double Q into the Unleashed Power will execute something like Vietnamese Caps later into this game. He just all Nair has to do is just give his life for one pick. He picks off one of these champions, and his team should win out the team fight later on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that if you trade the Renekton for the Kai'Sa, right, Nair giving up his life to take out the Keyboarder, then you probably got yourself in a pretty dang solid position. Meanwhile, this mid lane is proving to be incredibly difficult for Akuma sides to actually take down. I mean, Bondi and Brash, the two of them together have more than enough wave clear between them, going to be able to just continue to keep this tower from falling. And I don't know just what Akuma sides needs at this point to really make things happen. As the later this game goes, yes, the stronger the Keyboarder gets, but as I said before, it doesn't matter how fed you get as an AD carry in terms of avoiding getting one shot, right? The later the game gets, teams will still find ways how to keep you from playing. I mean, Griffin will eventually get to the point where it's simply just an outplay button moment and Keyboard won't get a chance to play the game. In the meantime, we are getting more of this mid lane action as Nair's still sitting on that side lane.
Fancy's Veil was procced out of Griffin, though. They're going for a little bit of mid lane poke up. This could be an interesting Baron take. I mean, I think they have the damage to go for it. And the Dragon has not spawned up yet. Yeah, the Kai'Sa does a ton of damage, but they're going to be taking a ton of Baron damage here. The flip could go extremely awry. Trushan Barrage, oh my, the damage on your chest. You've got to back off of this now if you are Griffin. Spotted up Vietnamese Caps. Can he get the solo ball? QQ, Unleashed Power, unable to find the kill off just yet. The Baron is already down to about 2k HP. Is it gonna get stolen? It does! It's Lane Zero Maelstrom able to find the Baron kill off. And Nair finds the jungler. It's going completely awry for AKM in this matchup. Anti-Grim gonna get chased down with the Vault Breaker. Has to use the ultimate just to be able to get on out. The Sun's able to come straight on down and they find the kill anyway. It's all Lane Zero Maelstrom. Where did it go wrong for Akuma Blades?
Yeah, and that was one of those fights, that one of those chases after the Baron that usually you see from the team that doesn't pick up the Baron. Usually it's the team that says like, yeah, we just want to pick up a few kills here or there to try to get rid of some of these Baron buffs. Meanwhile, it's Lane Zero Maelstrom just going straight on in. Keyboarder, the last one to be able to stop this, but there's no one that's going to be able to stop Lane Zero Maelstrom. They're just constantly going in.
Yeah, Mui, the last line of defense here, potentially with Baron buff minions coming in from this top side. They're looking to take this inhibitor turret as soon as possible. Dragon is on up. The respawn timers are going to be there, so I would like to see Laser Mushroom not throw this. You could get an inhibitor here, but back off, because the respawns are going to be up, and you don't want to take a full 5-on-5 inside their base. Go for potential mid turret, go for a potential mid inhibitor, and then retreat. Go for this dragon, because Nair may be potentially caught out here. The Dominus is going to be back online though, and Stallion re-engages. Grim has fallen once again. Mui gets stunned straight on up, and Stallion there for the little bit of the auto damage as well. Vietnamese Caps is not able to find body. He's going to be able to use that arcane shift to get on out. But the Zerath ultimate, could it be the savior? In this game, you're losing Nexus turrets. Keyboarder is back alive. He's able to go invis off of the E-stealth, but leave lane 0. You got more than you can fight. You got more than you can fight for your Chu, lane 0. Get out, because you are looking in a phenomenal spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much gold in these players' pockets right now. I gotta see just how much gold are they sitting on. I would not be surprised if it was over 1,000 for multiple members here. But like, oh my lord, 2,000 on jungle and 80 carry.
They're about to bank that.
Oh my god. Like, this is an absolute stomp coming in these later stages of the game. You would expect the Renekton to have fallen off by now, but Nair has been doing so much work with this Renekton. Meanwhile, let's take another look at this Baron fight here. NA Stallion and Mui going toe-to-toe. 2,200 on the Baron, a little bit of burst damage here, 1,600. The smite comes down at 13, and that's just barely not enough to get the kill here. In the meantime, flash forward from Nair to make sure that Mui goes down, and the full-on chase from the lane 0 Maelstrom means that Akuma sides don't even get a chance to run away. Who cares about first seed? Lane 0 Maelstrom simply care about the Nexus.
Oh, this is a phenomenal game, Anti. I cannot believe we were here to watch this. And now all you have to do is just push out these waves, and it have to be a phenomenal throw out of lane 0 Maelstrom. I mean, we've seen things happen before, but they're sitting on about a 10k gold lead, and the Ezreal
2 inhibs down.
Yeah, and they're 2 inhibs down. So the Ezreal is still behind technically in items against the Kai'Sa, but that's what it's actually going to help you hit those power spikes a lot quicker. Still has a 9 DCS lead, but the gold that this Ezreal has is outweighing, and the damage is outperforming this Kai'Sa. The turret's gonna end up completely gone. Glacial Prism straight on in, but it's buffered by NA Stallion. True Shot Barrage on your chest this week. Not clean up just yet. Pawn able to find the missing shot. It's a 5v4 in this bot side. Mui is going to get cease and desist, knocked up and bursted. NA Stallion trades out their life 4v3 into this bot side. They want to be able to get this inhibitor turret, but Nair is extremely low. Griffin still has the unleashed power into the back pocket though, maybe looking to take out Keyboarder if at all possible. This Shadow League is committed though, and that's going to be Keyboarder's key to re-engage. The unleashed power, no, not nearly enough. The shutdown does come straight into the pocket of the Kai'Sa. Bondi, Mystic Shot's not able to find much, and Xerath is able to clean up the kill, but you're triple inhibs down now, and well, you don't find Nair. You're triple inhibs down. You almost lost a Nexus turret off of all that. So all realistically lane 0 Maelstrom have to do is play the game out. The gold lead dwindled drastically after that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the 3 inhibs taken down, but just step a little bit too far, and Akuma sides showing off exactly why they're a team to be feared, right? I mean, the Unleashed power was still available, but without the lockdown onto the Keyboarder, they just weren't able to find a way how to take out this Kai'Sa, and there's so much damage that this Kai'Sa has been outputting. Now with the Bloodthirster shield available, it's going to be even more difficult to take out this Kai'Sa. But right now, we're just going to have to see just what it is that Lane 0 Maelstrom are going to do in order to seal this one out. Baron up in 30 seconds. So right now, I would not be surprised to see the waves shoved in, the Baron started up, and just a full-on fight coming in from Lane 0 Maelstrom.
Fire maybe getting another solo bolo onto Grim. He doesn't have a tower to retreat to, but he wants to pull the aggro here because the Baron's going to be spawning straight on up. Nair may be caught out trying to slice and dice his way on out of here, but 4 members have responded. That should be free topside prio and aggro gain for the side of Lane's Maelstrom. They could go for 20-minute Baron on start, and TP isn't in the pocket of Nair, so if they decide to respond to this, they need to stop this Renekton who's pushing in super minion waves, or he gets a TP flank off. Look at all the wards that are in this jungle. Xerath ult's gonna be committed, but at this point it might just be a leash for the Baron if you try and steal it on out. Maybe trying to find a kill into Brash, but are unable to on your chest. Just trying to clear up vision as much as possible. Keyboarder fighting Nair right now. Probably there's the only person who can potentially do so. The Dominance is gonna have the MVP proc. The Rage Meter is spelt up. The Static Shield is able to help him stay alive, but he had burned out the flash and was not able to go flash redemption. He's gonna be picked on up with your triple inhibs down, going up against Baron. Empowered super minion waves coming on in. Nair's gonna be able to go to base, healing up and TP to this topside wave, push it in and take this inhibitor. This could be the game ender right now. Anti, they're gonna take this topside inhib. What is left in the tank for Akuma Sides? The cannon is doing tons of damage. You gotta stop it. No, you have no Nexus turrets left. The Glacial Prism is gonna go wide. Nair's in the nick of the fight. On your chest has already fallen. Shusha Barrage is able to knock up
Grim?
Mui with the assist. Grim is all ahead and fallen to Griffin. The health bars are extremely weak, but it's an open Nexus. Dominance is gonna be back online for Nair here in the next couple of 10 seconds. Do they decide to push for the end if possible? You got one top lane wave. Griffin is TPing back in, has hit a power item spike. Brash eating a Xerath ultimate from the fountain. All you have to do if you are Bondi is hit this Nexus Dominance onto Mui. Can he get the execute damage off? He cannot! Not yet. Keyboarder is still alive and in this fight, kicking one slice and Dice should be able to find it. So it's Vietnamese Caps versus Nair, Renekton versus Xerath, and I'm starting to like the odds of the Crocodile because he could just hit this Nexus for free. No flash online though, but it might not matter. Vietnamese Caps, it's gonna be up to on your chest, but it's Lane Zero Maelstrom taking a 2-0 against the Akuma Sides.
Lane Zero Maelstrom coming in with a massive upset. Not only was it a win, it was a 2-0 over the first seed Akuma Sides. Beautiful stuff from this team. They played to their strengths. They played solid composition. They played some solid as hell League of Legends, and they're going to be able to grace us with a 2-0 upset over the top team in the Immortal League. And I gotta say, Cilantro, that is a treat and a half to see there. Nair's Renekton not getting banned out in game number 2, and immediately he shows off exactly why you have to ban this champion. Doesn't matter that you got the Aurora quote-unquote counterpick when you've got someone with as much expertise as Nair on this Renekton. And just like that, we're gonna be able to seal things off in game number 2.
Wow, I have no realistically room for words left. That's a phenomenal play from Bondi, from being down against a Kaisa that was 8-1 at the start.
Oh yeah,
and being able to bounce back and help carry up this team, doing the most damage in the end, even though Nair was popping off on the Renekton, and able to win it on out against a fed Kaisa of all things, really should prove to you that this Lane Zero Maelstrom team has some grit to them. They have some backbone. And going into playoffs, you know, they could, if they make it into playoffs, we still got 1 week left. This doesn't really affect the standing, so they need to win their match next week if they want to make it into that 4th seed spot and pray that the 4th seed team loses. Then they could be an underdog to watch out for because they've just toppled a top tier team, which arguably it's possible that Akuma Sides took game 1 a little bit unserious, maybe on disrespected Lane Zero Maelstrom's strength a little bit, but they were fully tryharding to win game 2, and Akuma, Lane Zero Maelstrom came back and won.
If nothing else, it's at least gonna feel pretty dang good for Lane Zero Maelstrom. But either way, it feels good to see every single bit of that set. And it feels good to see all of you here, but thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to the rest of the Titan Esports content throughout the week, and make sure to give some love to our sponsor ProCons. In the meantime, I've been Anti, this has been Cilantro, and it's been a great time. Y'all take care.